So I'm going to use a small saw with a short bar. The antithesis of what I'm supposed to be using if you listen to the so-called experts who've just discovered that, yeah, there's some reasons a big bar makes sense. And you tell me whether or not I'm struggling. And if I would have been better if I had just listened to the expert and gone out and got myself a big-ass saw with a long-ass bar. You tell me. So did this look like a struggle to you? Would I have done any better with a big saw and a 28-inch bar? Of course not. So I'm going to use this saw right here, and that's a 565 with a 24-inch VersaCut, which is actually pretty light. Well, I still have a little daylight. Knock that thing down, I guess. But I'm going to work through that. Same basic deal. And again, the goal here is just to cut my way through in... that one's not quite as big a top, but just knock down the top a little bit so I can hook onto it with the tractor and drag it up and out of the woods for firewood. Now, I'm going to tell you that horsing that thing around is going to be a pain in my neck. It's just the weight, because I am having to work waist high and above. Sometimes I reach down, but for the most part, it's waist high. So having to extend out with the extra weight, it's a little tougher on me. For me, just hooking onto it and going with these logs, with these tops, is the definition of win. So let's see if it's easier with a bigger saw and a longer bar. By the way, this is not uncommon when you get a longer bar into the brush. That, by the way, is not an unusual event when you have a longer bar in the brush, because them stringy little branches, they'll get in here and deflect the chain. They'll get underneath the cover and push the chain off. And even if you have a tight chain, you know, you still have a higher chance of having it tossed in that brushy stuff. And then the other thing is, a longer bar that is a light bar flexes. So that also increases the chances of it tossing a chain. And I didn't expect this thing to pop like that. It's a little disappointing. But I have to tell you, over the last 25 years out here, I found that that's not an unusual situation. So, kind of a graphic thing, huh? So I guess the question is, which one was more productive? I guess it's a no-brainer, isn't it? But my point is this. I don't know how to say it politely, but the guys that are just getting into this, and what I mean by that is a person who hasn't had 10, 15 years in the woods. It's like the guy who I work for at the highway department. He goes, unless you're in a snowplow for 6 years, you're still learning. You're still a novice. And I just took offense to that at first, as I was learning my trade. And then what happens is, over a period of time, you sort of settle out a little bit, and you start looking around, your head's up around, you recognize the liability of it and the risk and the special conditions. And you sort of get a humility, you know, in that business. I think the same thing is true with the woods. I've been in these woods for 24 years. I've been doing this kind of stuff since I was a kid. You know, pulpwood in the 1970s is where it started for me. Firewood and stuff like that, you know, in the early 70s. And, you know, you grow. Homolites to Huskies and different bars and chain combinations. I used to use 18 and 20s, and I went to 24, and now I went to 28s on the felling, and I went to 28s back on the firewood for a little bit, and now I'm kind of back to 20 and 24. Go back and forth. But on this kind of stuff right here, the little lightweight saw that doesn't get snagged by the branches and stuff like that is just a lot handier for me. So kind of a case in point. When I have a little more open space or I'm working up and down a log, yeah, big bar, fine. I'll tell you what, it's a whole lot easier whipping around 12, 15 pounds, you know, with a high chain speed, fast little saw, sharp little chain, than it is for me to try to manipulate a 24, 28, God forbid, a 32-inch bar and stuff like that. It's just ridiculous. And to the guys who espouse to just one way fit all, the only way you can do that is either through ignorance or arrogance or both, I guess is the point. And I don't want to malign folks. Their heart's in the right place. They're trying to share what they think is good knowledge. They just don't know. That's what it is. They just simply don't know. And that's why when you go off looking for advice on YouTube, you can pretty much get any kind of advice. It's not going to hurt you to listen. But put the weight on the people who've been doing what you're doing for a period of time and understand why they're doing it a particular way. And listen to them. There's a lot of smart people out there. And on this channel, on my channel, I always show you what I do, and I'll tell you this is the best for me. But I've never made the assumption it's what's best for you. And there's the difference. You see what I do. If it works for you, you like it, fine. If you don't, it doesn't hurt my feelings. But like I said, I don't have the arrogance to tell you that what I do is the right way or the only way. It's just what works for me. And that's where I'm going to leave it.